Almost. All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and thanks so much for tuning in live. And if you're catching the replay, you are so welcome. Hello, Reina. It's nice to be here with you.
Hello, and likewise. Thank you for everyone who is joining us live on our replay. Share, subscribe, so you can be in this space where we discuss conscious living tools. So today's subject is a very interesting one, which we have touched upon several times, probably during our lives, maybe in every life that we do. So yeah, Ruan, I'll let you introduce it.
Yeah, so the topic for today is transformation versus change, right? So both of them are changes that happen, but one happens on a conscious level and one happens because we fail to take action to fuel our own transformation. So, Reina, what is the a subtle difference that you see between change and transformation?
So I have been reflecting on this. Change is something that it's not a permanent thing, which transformation is exactly the opposite. So transformation is the permanent, ongoing that shifts your identity, if you wish. And we have access to both. And I think probably the first step to transformation is change after you are self-aware that you are up for that, transformation, basically. So transformation might take and will take longer, and it is related to building positive, constructive habits in our lives. While change could be something temporary, it could go either way. Transformation can go either way as well. But we are going to be talking about positive change and transformation today, as we are raising the frequencies. As you guys are aware, and if you have followed us through, we are all about conscious living, how we can utilize the energies, how we can bring in the divine masculine, the divine feminine, so we are in absolute balance, and we can tune more into the life that we are designed to live, the life that we desire deep from our hearts.
Most definitely. And it is imminent. Transformation is imminent, and it's a beautiful way to do it if you can do it consciously. As we're all transforming, we're all going through all the different stages, the different cycles, the different seasons, or at all the time. The cycle repeats itself over and over and over again. So by choosing change, right? Let's say if you say now transformation and change, if you choose change, you are not as much in control over what happens to you as if you choose transformation. Because transformation is a repetitive cycle, you know what is happening in the next stage, right? You have a general awareness of it. So you can, during each stage, you can really tap in consciously and amplify and learn stuff that you wanted to learn as you transform, you gain that new identity because of the work that you did through conscious transformation. But if you're just going to go with change, you are going to be a product of circumstance even more than if you just conscious lived and choose transformation.
Most definitely, yes, I totally agree with you. So let's go to the energies that we are experiencing, that Earth is going through, and how is Earth transforming. So we have just a little bit of awareness of how we can then utilize and where we are standing. I think it's a very good point to realize, appreciate, and just have a honest overview of where we are standing, basically. So as we know, Earth is ascending. In the spiritual ground, spiritual teachers talk about Earth ascending from the third dimension to the fourth to the fifth dimension, which is going to happen, and it is happening right now. That's why we see so much chaos around us. And I don't say close your eyes and don't see it, but you can choose not to be it. And you can have full faith and trust that whatever is happening, it's happening for the highest good of all, even if that we have a judgment for that certain thing. If it's a very low vibrational thing that it's happening, around the world, you can say, okay, I see it, I observe it, I choose not to be it and to feed it with more fear or more lower vibrational feelings. And emotions around it, because as we know, fear is like the bottom, the very, very, the lowest level of consciousness, if you want. And I think that's what I was looking for. So at the moment, where are we standing, basically?
We are standing past the front line. If that is just to give a quick answer on that, we already passed the beginnings, the starting line. We've been at it since the 1980s. We've been at it, if not even before that as well, we've been at it. So there's really progress has already been made, and we've come to a point on the journey where things are going to start shifting rapidly. Not just in our own lives, but physically as well. As you mentioned, the planet is changing, the planet is transforming itself. And the mountains once formed because of shifts that happened, right? So mountains are forming as well, constantly on a daily basis, right? This volcano is being active. The weight of the planet is increasing. The speed of the planet's rotation is increasing. Right, so all these subtle changes has an effect on us as well, right? At the end of the day, we are ascending by default, right? Because the planet that we are on is the one actually ascending, and we are like ticks, basically hitching a ride, instead of being the ones in the spotlight that is ascending. Right, but we're just here to be a support aid. So we have a alliance and agreement and a beautiful relationship with the planet because of it, because we're living in symbiosis basically with the planet, and being able to ascend with it is a massive I would say it's a I won't say reward, it's a privilege. That's the word.
Yeah, definitely
It's definitely a privilege to do so. And through conscious living, it takes that experience to a whole new level, right?
Yeah.
It requires us to take a different approach and command and request what changes we want to see within ourselves in order to amplify the experience for the planet as well. Don't know if that answered your question, or if you have another one you can ask.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So I think this on spiritual, if we kind of funnel down our journey of life and we kind of started from that spiritual, what is going on spiritual level, what is happening beyond the eyes that can see, but every single one of us can feel it. So yeah, definitely has answered my question. So just to narrow it down, then, this is what is happening on planetary level. We see it all around us. Now, if we go down to mental plane, then, what will be the change versus the transformation that every single one of us has responsibility to act upon on a mental plane? And what I mean by this is our thoughts. So the thoughts that we are having, we know that, and if you have been following us, or if you're drawn to our channel, you probably are a light worker like ourselves, which means that you're in the front line. You are the person who is aware, who is responsible, who is conscious. And this conscious goes beyond the physical. It's merely about, eating habits and exercise, or any physical, habits that you have. It goes beyond that. But we are on the front line, where we have to initiate, through responsibility and power of intention, the change that we want to see. Not only initiate, but we need to be that change. We need to be that transformation. So people behind us, that there is no judgment. The people that are not self-aware, for example, or that want to transform too, can get inspired. And if we keep ourselves in that highest light of transformation, of living the best life that we can, meaning that everything that we do in our career, relationships, and in all aspects of life comes from the desire of our heart. So it's like a complex, multi-dimensional way of seeing, of experiencing life. So basically, yes, my question, so I'm getting lost here a bit, is how can we take the responsibility and through change experience transformation in our mental plane?
I absolutely love the question and the extension to it as well.
Yeah.
So we need to realize that we are electromagnetic beings. That's it. So meaning there's parts within us that generate a magnetic field, right? So your heart and your brain is one of them. That's why you got perfectly split half, because of in the center you find the magnetic bit, right, that generates that magnetic field. Now that field that is around us creates our aura, it creates our subtle bodies, it creates our mental plane, it creates all that. So if we do not generate, because we as human beings have the ability to generate our own field, right? We can change it, we can change what thoughts we think, that it plays a role in our magnetic field, right? That's conscious living as well, by taking conscious control of your own field and what you allow in and what you express out. Now, if you're going to consciously transform, you're going to utilize that, and you're going to affirm with positive affirmations, meditations, and all that stuff that you need to do in order to keep your field clear, strong, and healthy. Now, if we are just going to be defined by change, right, which is happening in the world, the planet is changing, the Earth's magnetic field is weakening, so meaning ours is also weakening, right, because we are attached. So it's one thing that we cannot escape. And there's studies that you can go check out, is how the magnetic field affects human behavior and even animal behavior, right? So when there's a lack of a strong magnetic field, you become susceptible to like crowd control and stuff like that. So crowd control meaning if this person is doing something, you want to do it that way as well, because it's easier, because we're social beings, right? So meaning if one person goes haywire, everybody will go haywire, right? But if you are transformed and in a conscious way, and you've trained yourself, right? Because repetition is key into learning, right? To be of a solid mind and have a fixed growth mindset and expansive mindset, instead of contracting and like the whole time seeing, okay, how can I be like the next person, right? Because the world's already filled with that, right? So we need to do things differently if we want a different result, especially for our lives and for our own evolution as well. So definitely to answer your question in a different way, just take care of your health, right? Your mental health and what you allow in your life, because it's those small things that either, because it has amplifying effect in the future as well. So who are the people that you spend around with? What are you feeding your system, mentally, physically, emotionally? And that will play a big role in your mental field when it comes to the changes that's happening. And if you choose to transform, your experience will be much more conscious than not.
Amazing. Thank you. You mentioned mental health, which kept coming back to me as you were talking, which I am glad that you mentioned it. So what will mental health means from a holistic perspective, in a way where we can be mentally healthy, right? And I think this is exactly what you mentioned there. It's very valid. And if you guys haven't tried it for yourself, I encourage you go and try it for yourself to see the change and the transformation that you will be experiencing. Because every single thought that we have, it's changing the trajectory of the timeline that we live in. So if you have a scarcity mindset and you decide consciously to no longer have scarcity mindset, and obviously this takes repetition, as Ruan said, of course. So it's a learned new habit and way of being. This is going to bring you into, what do you choose instead of scarcity? Is it abundance? Earth is abundant. There is abundance of air. There is abundance of water. There is abundance of, greenery. There is abundance of your own breath. You don't have to even think to breathe, right? Your body breathes itself alone. So what does it mean to be mentally healthy and to choose consciously the thoughts that they go into your mental field, basically? It's about taking a good care of yourself in such way that you rewind your brain. And there is Dr. Joe Dispenza's teaching, which I really love, because they are backed up by scientific evidence, as long as the metaphysical transformation that happens there, about rewinding your own mind and healing. I think it's a major term, healing from learned behaviors that have been passed from generation to generation. So you break the cycle. This is a very big, courageous, responsible, light workers mission. And if you are finding yourself that you are struggling, I want you just to give so much grace to yourself and to be so kind to yourself and to just love yourself unconditionally, accepting and just tuning into that divine being that you are within, allowing transformation to happen, allowing this rewinding to happen. So yeah. Is anything coming through for you on that?
Well, what's going through is by looking at what's been passed on to us, and from like your parents and from their parents, generational. And a lot of people say, okay, no, there's stuff happening in my genes that I cannot control. There's a different term called epigenetics, which is just above genetics. So literally, if you get your genetics running through your arm, just lay above it, right? That's epigenetics. And just above that, there's a field of consciousness, right? Also our innate body, which is an aspect of ourselves that we need to take control of. And that is in control of our genes, not like past things. So we can change any aspect of ourselves through conscious intention, but it is repetition over and over again. Now, one thing that came through was three simple concepts of just exactly what you mentioned about the thoughts, right? Is the first one is accept, other one is reject, and the third one is let go, right? That is the three main concepts to know about conscious transformation, right? What thoughts are you accepting in your mind? What thoughts are you rejecting, which is important? And what thoughts do you need to let go that is not yours, right? Because we are attracting all these thoughts from the collective consciousness, from those around us. So we really need to be aware of what we allow in, and because what we allow in is a choice as well, right? It's part of conscious living as well.
Absolutely. That is so true. And how do you do that? You become your own observer. So you step from a perspective of your higher self as an observer, a third person observer, looking at yourself and acknowledging the thoughts that they go in. So once you catch yourself with the thoughts that you are experiencing, then you can then you can just go and choose what is allow, reject, or let go of, basically.
Yeah. No, amazing. So just on that point as well of really tapping into the infinity, right? Because that's also part of our mental health, right? The more we are aware of things around us, concepts, different aspects of ourselves, the more we become aware of something, the more power we have over things contained within it. So let's say, for instance, all right, not for instance, we are powerful creators, right? We are divine beings having this human experience, right? We're spiritual beings having a physical experience, and who we are spiritually is magnificence, right? It really goes beyond anything humans can ever make up, right? Which is very important to know. If things are made by humans, I'm sorry, that is putting a limitation on yourself, and that is not worth doing. So really tapping into the bigger picture of things, right? So say you want to heal a part of the solar system, right? You want to heal a part of the planet. If you become aware of the whole solar system and visualize every single planet and stars around, and you then focus on the planet, you bringing that whole awareness and everything in between there and channel that energy into the part that you want to heal, right? Then you come with more authority and more power, which is something that is a skill that we need to learn as well.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Okay. Amazing. So just to go then and narrow it further to emotional body then, and how does emotion help with your transformation, with your change? Again, it's a very powerful way of seeing, and it is a multidimensional way of living. And again, when certain thoughts that you have, that they are creating your reality, as we said, like attracts likes, you then start experience your thoughts in an emotional level, which is kind of funneling down. And now, depending on the thoughts that you are experiencing, the emotions that you are experiencing, they anchor down into your physical. Let's say, for example, I have a scarcity mindset, and I have a thought that there is no, let's say, for example, money. Okay. If I have this thought that there is no money, then I experience emotionally a contraction of there is not enough. Okay. I experience fear, I experience frustration. And when I experience this, if I don't catch my emotion there, right? After a certain period of time, this anchors down into my physical, which is gonna express itself in some kind of dis-ease. So the body is not gonna be, living in ease, basically, or some kind of illness, if you want, or some kind of condition that we as human beings have probably named. And we don't want this to happen. So the whole point is to unblock that energy, because this is a blockage of energy, right? So if you on the thought level then catch this and you say, okay, that's even though, and this is very powerful, when you say, even though at the moment my belief is that there is no money, right? I choose to believe that there is abundance of it. And you can see that it's true, and you can utilize this to become your true. And when you utilize this to become your true, and when you start experiencing inside of you abundance, and if you start living from a space of, I have everything that I need, and you experience grace, because grace is another aspect, that the more grace and gratitude we have for everything that we have in our lives, the more of this abundant energy, this divine energy, you attract to yourself and to your life. And then you're going to see that in your physical, you're going to start opening up opportunities that are, you're going to be like surprised how, and how did that happen, So it's to catch that and to go to that emotion and to see, again, I think acknowledge what emotion you're feeling, where in your body you are feeling, and how do you replace it with a constructive and a positive one. Let's see. Yeah.
All right, there we go. So taking it from the emotional body, right? It's that energy that we're experiencing, right? And to really feel it, I think is the first step, because it is a whole different dynamic than in the physical, right? So you get the do energy, but with energy, there's already that forward momentum action, right? For energy to stream, to flow, there's already an action that was taken to project it forward. So that's why it's easier to just be, right? Is because there's already been that initial action. And then you can just feel it, and then you can amplify it by being either a multiplier or something sucking the energy, right? That's why we can expand or contract. So our emotional body mainly just has the two functions, basically, expand or contract. And we are expansive beings by nature, and if we do not feel that expansive happening in our emotional body, we tend to go then even more reserved. Then we like don't show up for other people anymore, and we just like stick to ourselves more and more and more, right? Because we are used to this downhill projection, right? But in order to really be healthy and really to live consciously, right, we need to play with the universe and partake in the game of life, and that forces us to expose ourselves, be vulnerable, and really just show up for others and for ourselves so that we can expand. So I don't know if that answered your question from a different angle.
Yes, yeah, I think it did actually. Yeah. It is very important, as you said, and to feel that emotion, then to, choose over how you show up for yourself or for others, definitely. And this is a healing process. This is a process where you need to be patient with yourself, and you need to give yourself so much unconditional love again, and forgive yourself for not knowing any sooner, or just drop any kind of judgment, because then you automatically unblock that energy that has been blocked there. Then you automatically are more in tune with the divine being that you are within, and you have more of mind, body, heart coherence as well. So in terms, when it comes to change and transformation, so obviously you can change. You can say, okay, I'm experiencing anger at this moment of time. This is what I'm experiencing. I'm experiencing very much in my chest, for example, right? I choose to let this anger go. So you basically do your energy practice by channeling it down to the core of the earth. And as it goes down, you can feel that transmutation happening automatically. And then divine energy from Mother Earth comes back to your body and all your fields, healing you. So you ask for it. You can ask for it at any given point. You can say, heal me, strengthen me, let go of all that no longer serves me. And then this is going to be the change when you repeat this change. But when the transformation really kicks in,
it's going to take you on a ride. I just want to say, just to add to that, to use anger as well in this concept. So exactly what you mentioned in a different way is anger is the, okay, let's use anger. So anger is the base energy that you are feeling. Now, if you're going to change that, you want to be then happy, right? So in order to change consciously, you need to go from angry to happy, and usually that involves a lot of ice cream, right? So there's a process that needs to happen, okay? But then if you want to transform anger, right, means that you have to utilize it, and transmuting it is one way that you are utilizing it. Right, you are changing it consciously from you're transforming the energy, because energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed, right? So if you're going to change, you say, okay, you just switch the channel from angry to happy, and then it will really come back again. It will just make another turn around the block until you realize that, okay, you actually need to transform the energy and use it constructively, instead of just shoving us like, I'll deal with you later, right? Because then it will just come back around. But really feel into it and use it. Let it feel your own transformation. So yeah, I don't know if that adds context.
Yes, I think it does, exactly. So it's not about refusing or kind of disregarding what I'm feeling and just switching to a different channel, but it's about feeling into it and sitting with it and being okay with it. Only because we have been taught that anger is a bad thing, it doesn't mean that it is. It just is. It's not a good or a bad thing. It just is, right? Feel into it and experience it without projecting it out. I think this is a very big part of it. Because if you are projecting it out, you are spilling your energy all over the place, and you don't want to do that, because there is, complications with the relationships with other people when it comes to this, right? And if you are not okay within you, if you have some kind of things that you need to heal through, then you have to deal with this alone. So it's nobody else's fault. It's where you take full responsibility for yourself, and then transmute it within you. So sit with it and we have mentioned this in the past, I think. Sit with it, accept it, and then let go of it. Let go of it so it transmutes. And you can then shift your identity in that way. And it is beautiful, healing, holistic journey that we experience. And again, in this process, be kind to yourself. It's very, very necessary, because you don't need to put any more judgment onto being angry, for example, right?
Hmm.
So,
Beautifully said.
yeah, thank you. So we touched upon the spiritual, the mental, and the emotional bodies. Now, when it comes down to physical body, and I think probably from my perspective, what's coming through is anything that we do on the physical has been affected all the way down from spiritual, mental, and emotional. And this is just going to be results from where we have lived in our mental and emotional being. So it anchors into the physical and the identity, bless you, that you have adopted, if you want. And we can shift identities, we can shift timelines, and this is possible, this is happening, and you can do it too. What is your overview on the physical? How is the physical change and transformation related, and how we can benefit from change, repetitive change, and then transformation, that it can really anchor us through in our physical body, where we then become a different person?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. So the first thing that came through is transforming the way that we see the physical reality, right? So if we change that first, we're going to have a much better time accepting and adopting the changes that's happening on the physical as well, right? Because change is going to be constant. It's something that's natural order. So what do I mean by changing the way we look at physicality, right? If you take a look at the spiritual community, there's a big thing about dropping the ego, and it's like there's a massive misconception around that, right? So if you can change your perspective from, okay, I want to be in the 5D, I want to be like in a different place, right? Know that being in the physical is the grand prize, right? This is like the ultimate thing that we wanted to achieve, right? Is to be physical so that we can be a like boots on the ground for like the higher aspects of ourselves, which is not technically higher, right? Because there's no anarchy with love, right? It's just it's everywhere. So if we are the ones putting the own borders on there, so really look at life at being the greatest gift that you have to give to the world, right? Because you are then able to create a change by firstly getting in tune with your other aspects, right? Your higher selves and your soul levels, right? If once you get in touch with that and you expand into that, as we mentioned before, the more you become aware, the more power you have, right? So the more the wider your field of view, the more you see, right? And the more you see, the more you can do, right? So it's really plays into it. So physical transformation, to answer your question, right, comes through a lot of honesty with yourself. Change can come from dishonesty as well. So transformation is more of an honest approach, right? Because if you're shedding, you know you're shedding, so you are shedding, right? And people who just go about change, if they see they're shedding and they don't know that they're going through a transformation process, they say, no, it this happened because I did this, right? Then self-judgment comes in, right? So that is if you follow the path of change and like you want to change things. No, transform it. Use whatever's the experience that's happening, whether it's good, bad, ugly, blissful, whatever it is, right? You are meant to experience that, go through that experience and use that to your advantage instead of it using you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you mentioned ego, and I think ego is great when we utilize it for willpower, for getting that masculine do approach. But what does it mean to let go of, to drop the ego, I think, in this
Why do you want to
term
drop
that,
yourself?
say again?
Why do you want to drop yourself?
Yeah, true that is. So I think when we talk about dropping it, it means that to drop any lower aspects, meaning any judgment or any criticism. I think I see it in this way when you say, drop your ego.
Yeah. So I'd say drop all change that's connected to your ego. All right. So that
Yes.
you, instead of like all attachments that's to it, right?
Mhm.
Because hey, it's part of your experience.
That's
We
true.
we need our ego, right? Everybody wants to just let it dissolve, that it's not there anymore, right? But
Mhm.
that's counterintuitive. Then you being in the physical has absolutely no meaning, right?
Mhm.
But being able to feel any and all emotions through our ego, right, is what basically ascension needs,
Mhm.
right? Is for us to feel and to be and transform. And our ego plays a massive role in it in order to facilitate the space for us to feel it. So what we need to let go of is all the change that the chains and the concepts and the misbeliefs that we have about who we are and all aspects of ourselves. So sometimes we needed to go through lower timelines in order to reach the highest timeline. It's still like a sine wave. You go up and down. And the
Mhm.
further you go down, the higher you can go up.
Yes, absolutely. Amazing. This conversation about transformation and change can take another 3 hours.
Definitely.
But because we are pressed by time, I think unless you have anything else to say, we can stop it here.
Yeah, we can let the information simmer and we'll cannot wait to hear your comments and your thoughts. So please participate in that as well. We're all in this together. We learn from each other. So yeah, let's be there for one another.
Amazing. Thank you so much for everybody who's watching. Thank you, Ruan, for facilitating space for this conversation together with
Thank you.
myself. I really appreciate you. And we
Likewise.
guys are gonna see you in our next live next Thursday. We come with intuitive, guided subjects and tapping into the collective energy. You can also follow us on Instagram where we have daily energetics just to have a boost in your day and tune into remember all is well, you're always supported and you are loved.
Beyond measure. Until next time, everybody, live long.
And prosper.
Bye for now.